Hi, welcome to the second episode of League of Basics. I'm Novasight. In this episode, I'm going to be going over runes and masteries. So, as I explained in my first one, you have runes and mastery pages, and when you start your account, you only start with 2 rune pages, and you can buy more in the shop. You also have to buy the runes. Now, runes basically are added stats, and with added stats, you can basically get about mm, about 800 gold worth of stats right off the bat in the game, depending on what you build. So for this, I ended up buying a extra rune page already, which you can simply do by going to runes, additional rune page, unlock, and if you want to buy specific runes, it's all here. So when you get to level 30, you get tier 3 runes, and so with tier 3 runes, it's the highest the stats can go on any individual rune. So, as a basic page, I'll demonstrate just building one. Let's call this one the AD carry basic page. So you want to get, let's say, 9 attack damage reds, which ends up equating to 8.5 physical damage extra right off the bat. And let's say you just want more damage, so I have lots of runes in already because I've had this account a long time. I've been playing a lot. So there's also quintessences are the big ones here. So if I add more physical damage, let's see, 3 quints, you have plus 15 physical damage right off the bat. Now, it might not seem big in comparison to the items you can get in game, but when you're just starting the match, and even throughout, this 15 points does carry a significant weight. Now, at the most basic level, let's say you want yellow seals. So you get 9 armor seals, which gives you literally 9 armor, 1 armor each. And say you want magic resist, so you get 9 glyphs, which turns into about 12 magic resist. I don't know if it's exactly 12, 33. Yeah, I think it's pretty much exactly 12, might be on or off a bit. Now, it does technically round up, but there's a common misconception about it. Even though it rounds up on the page, it doesn't round up in the game. The game does use all decimal points, which is a lot of people don't seem to realize that. So that 2.25 attack damage is literally 2.25 attack damage, for example. 0.95 attack damage is literally 0.95 attack damage. Although, yeah, that's just how it is. Anyways, that would be like a basic AD carry page. Now, my AD carry page is actually different, but that's because I have it built the way I want. So this is my AD carry page, which uses 2 attack speed quints, a lifesteal quint, the AD reds, like 1 crit chance yellow, 8 armor seals, and magic resist seals, or glyphs, I mean. Yeah, so my page is quite a bit different, more stat variety, and yeah, it just works for me the way it is. And an example of another page, let's say you're playing AP carry at the most basic, let's say AP carry basic, that's like mages who scale with AP, which is like the green stat in game. You would get something like magic pen reds. Once again, you get the 9 armor seals and the 9 magic resist glyphs. And then you get something like 3 AP quints, which equals 15 AP. Now, you might be like, oh, well, that seems more efficient because you get 15 AP just from 3 things. But it works, but you know, AP works differently. It depends on the champion. Because having AP is not going to help a attack damage champion or a AD carry. So, let me just clear this. I don't know, there's not really much else to say about runes. I'll give you an example on one of my AP rune pages though. Actually, my balanced AP rune page is exactly the same. Like, that's the one I use when I'm blind picking into something. I don't know who my opponent is in lane. So, let's say if I was against an attack damage mid, like Zed or Yasuo, this is what I'd run. It actually has magic and armor pen, because at melee range, if I'm playing a ranged mage, I can harass them with a little bit of armor pen at the beginning. And it still has the AP quints. I have a few magic pen reds. I also have a few hybrid pen reds to make up that armor pen there. And then I build like armor, of course, because it works well against AD champs. And I build scaling AP glyphs. So as I level, I actually get more power out of these, but early on these aren't very strong. But these make more than make up for that anyways. And let's say I was playing a tanky champion. Actually, we'll just I'll just use one of my tanky pages as an example. So this is my most balanced tank page. I like to do this when I'm tanking, have armor, magic resist, health, physical damage, because I like getting in their face and hitting them. I also have movement speed because it's a little bit harder for them to kite you when you're running so damn fast. But this, not everybody runs it this way. This is just my preference, once again. So, yeah, that's about it for the runes explanation. There's so many kinds in the shop. Actually, stupid mouse. Okay, don't want to save that. So like, I have a lot of runes I don't own still, and some of them aren't that good. They don't really do anything, even when added up. They don't really equate to much of anything. If you want examples of other rune pages, you can just look up professional players' accounts and look at their rune pages. The ones they run are pretty straightforward. Now for masteries. Masteries are another stat change in the game. Having masteries can actually change a playstyle entirely. Like, for example, I'll build a mastery page. And okay, so you start with 30 points if you're at level 30. When you're level 1, you only get 1 point. And as you level, you get another point every time you can put 1 point in to different things. But I'll start by building another AD carry page. So AD carries rely on auto attacking a lot, so you'd want to get something like Fury for the attack speed. If you have trouble last hitting, honestly, I actually recommend this on everything, just about, because that extra 2 damage to minions early on is really good. But anyways, as an attack damage champion, you want to just focus everything into anything that says attack damage. So that brute force, see it adds up. Martial mastery adds another 4. As you're attacking people, the damage increase is really helpful. So you'd add points there. Dangerous Game is a really good mastery in my opinion, because if you can clutch a kill when you're really low, and you might be about to die, but as long as you secure that kill, that 5% missing health going back to you could save your life. Warlord, that's more attack damage. You don't really have to put, some people don't put all 3 points in. I kind of like to. Frenzy, critical strikes, which you'll be doing a lot when you're auto attacking as well. That'll give you more attack speed. It also stacks, so it'll give you up to 15% extra attack speed when it stacks. Armor and Magic Pen, this can actually apply to both AP and AD champs. So get some points in that, and that will help you burn through their armor a bit. And then Havoc is pretty self-explanatory as well, just more damage. Now I have 9 points left, so some people like to add points in utility, for example, and so they might do something along the lines of they need more mana regen to use their spells more, or they want some movement speed, they want their summer spell cooldowns, they want potion and elixir durations to go up, and then let's say they end up getting red buff or blue buff a lot. This helps. So I mean, that's a technical AD carry page, but I don't like utility because this doesn't actually do, well, aside from maybe mana regen, it doesn't really do much for laning phase. Which, I mean, if you get stomped in laning phase, you might have a harder time throughout the rest of the game anyways, and none of this might even help you at all. Now this is what I prefer. I prefer the defense tree. So, it is damage reduction from basic attacks, which is perfect against an AD carry versus AD carry lane. Because if they're auto attacking you, that's 2 points of damage reduction when you have both points in there. If you want to stay in lane a lot, this helps. 2 health per 5 isn't actually that big, but eh. Now, this isn't actually that great on AD carries because it increases both armor and magic resist. But if you're not building armor and magic resist, it doesn't really do much for you. And this one's okay if you get hit by minions a lot. Although you shouldn't really be getting hit by minions in lane. So anyways, so this works. And then another one that reduces damage incoming from range and from any champions. The amount increases depending on if you're ranged or not. If you're ranged, you only get 1 damage taken off. If you're melee, you get 2 damage taken off. And you can do that. There's 3 points of veteran scars. That just gives you 12 health per point. And then Juggernaut, which is 3% of your maximum health is increased. So these stats add up to, I would say, on a honest to God scale, I think that would save you for like 2 to 3 more auto attacks in lane early on. Like this is pretty big early on. So anyways, that would be a pretty basic AD carry page. Now, I don't know if my AD carry page is the same. I think it's a little different. Oh yeah, mine's different. So this is just a preference thing too. I like to take this setup. Now, exposed weakness is pretty good. if you can actually do anything with your abilities. Because it says increases allied champions damage to enemy by 1%, but it also increases your damage by 1%. It actually includes you. And another difference for mine is I so obviously I have a point out of Fury, but I also get spell weaving, so every time I basic attack a champion, my abilities do more damage. And since I play a certain way where I would auto attack a champion a couple of times, I might hit them with a skill shot. This adds up to a lot of damage. And yeah, it's just a difference in my page. And here's an example of a page for, let's see, which one is it? This one's like a melee AP carry. I kind of like playing this way. This is like something you would do for. Actually, this page is pretty crappy. Now that I look at it, I don't know. I don't think I use this page very often. I need to revamp this one. Okay, here's the AP carry page I do use though. If I can find it. Here we go. Sheet. So once again, I like to use expose weakness because it helps everything. So obviously I had that point in butcher because I like to be able to guarantee my last hits. And instead of getting attack speed, I would get CDR. So that's points at sorcery rather than fury. I'd get AP rather than AD, AP rather than AD, AP rather than AD. I still take Executioner, but I don't take Dangerous Game. Most of the AP champions I use are pretty high range, so I don't usually get myself in a situation where I need this. And I like this because it converts my AP into extra damage on my auto attacks, and I like to throw in auto attacks when I'm fighting in lane, or just like in general. And this still applies to magic, and this still applies to magic. And I take my normal defense setup. Now let's say I was playing something like really tanky, I just want like tank and utility, I'd pick something like that. So I have more points in these stats and some utility, and I just completely ignore damage. If I need damage, I'll just build it myself out of items. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. If you want to know what every single ability does, just look at them on your own page. You can just read up. They're pretty straightforward if you think about what the text says about them. This one, Rick Blessing, there's honestly no point to this one. This is silly. But yeah, it's Runes and Masteries. I'm Novasight. Thanks for watching.